Thanks for joining this Biobi Health interview with Jamie Torres at the Pickleball Charity Challenge in Richmond, BC. Jamie's a fullback turned linesman who played for the BC Lions for 16 years, winning 2 Grey Cups. As a multiple CFL All-Star and a sportsman both on and off the field, the BC Lions put Jamie on their wall of fame and retired his jersey number 60. I hope you enjoy this interview with Jamie Torres.
I'm Dr. Obiashi here with Biobi Health. We're at the Charity Richmond Pickleball Tournament. Here with Jamie. How did you get involved in this event itself? And do you play pickleball?
I've never played pickleball before in my life.
Okay.
And it's my first time watching it, but it looks like a lot of fun. I played ping pong, some squash, so a little bit of tennis, but no pickleball.
So what was your main sport growing up?
Well, I started playing all sports, soccer, volleyball, basketball. I ran track. I didn't actually start playing football until I was in grade 12. So
wow.
I was very late into football, and then I went on to the University of Western Ontario and then was drafted by the Lions. I played my whole career.
Wow, that's an amazing story.
I didn't play football until grade 12. So when I grew up, there was no football because I had to transportation home. I played volleyball. They used to have me out. I was 6 foot. I was about 220 pounds. And I was playing power hitter in volleyball. So
wow. Oh yeah, I would not want to take a ball from you. So you just love sport in general, it sounds like. And then how did that transition into football?
The lesson for young people really is that so often they get pigeonholed into one sport at a very early age. But I find that playing multiple sports gives you a real diverse athletic skill level, and those things can translate into other sports. So, soccer has great speed endurance, and eye-hand coordination of a game like pickleball or tennis. All those things can help you with another sport. And so that was my experience. Actually, I was playing soccer in a men's league. I was 16 years old. I ran into one of the men. I actually broke 2 of his ribs. And on the ground, he said, "Laddie, you're playing the wrong kind of football." But all those skills that I learned in those sports helped me when I ended up transitioning myself.
Okay, so you don't think it didn't hurt you? If anything, maybe that cross training helped your different muscle movements
for sure,
and thought process and strategies. Nothing really hurt you coming into football.
No, and I think also from the physical side of things, some of those nicks and injuries and those things that you might get at an early age playing football, I never had. As soon as I played my first game of football, I fell in love with it. And really just the team aspect of it, the strategic aspect of it. People always laugh about these bumbling behemoths, but I always equate it to chess with human beings because it is the most strategic sport in the world. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
I did judo and I was in the flyweight division. So football is like a very foreign concept for me. But like you mentioned, there's an almost chess-like component to the game. There's also like a physical strength and power. And you need enough endurance in that fourth quarter. So it's a little bit of combination of everything.
Yeah, and it's the only sport where you stop every 4 or 5 seconds, you huddle up, and you strategize about what you're going to do the next play. So I think in that regard, many sports, hockey, soccer, rugby, they're all free-flowing, right? Basketball, there are plays, but it's not as stop and go. And I think in some ways that allows the athlete also to focus his entire energy and effort into those 4 or 5 seconds. So it's very explosive. You really couldn't do that in another sport because you'd be worn out, right? For sure.
No, that's a cool thought. I never really thought about that. And so you huddle up, you strategize as a team, because we focus a lot on mindset as well. You get through the next 10 seconds, and then you reassess and go again.
That's exactly right.
So football almost forces you into that situation of critically analyzing and then moving forward with a plan and then trying again.
Yeah, and all of that, like people always ask, they don't realize the players at the pro level, they spend way more time in the classroom studying their opponent, learning the plays, studying the tendencies than they do actually practicing on the field. So there is a huge mental component to it, an intellectual component to it. And there are many great athletes that didn't make it in football because they lacked in that area. So I think that it is a unique combination of those things, the athleticism and also the mindset, mentality, and the knowledge behind what you're trying to do.
Because they say sports is one of the best metaphors for life. Do you agree with that statement?
I certainly think that things you learn in sport can help you with other areas of your life, whether it be leadership or teamwork or determination or discipline or hard work, overcoming adversity. All those things can translate into other aspects of your life, building relationships.
Yeah.
Camaraderie.
Well, like you said, with a team, you like that team aspect. Everybody's in the locker room. So you're training together. You're trying to push each other to be better too.
yeah, you're holding each other mutually accountable. You've got your job to do, but I can't worry about the other 11 people. But I also trust that they're going to do their job at a high performance level. When you're on a really good team, you hold each other accountable for the responsibilities, but you also trust each other to do what they're supposed to do. And that's what makes a great team.
So how many years did you play on the line?
I played for 16
That's
years.
crazy.
Yeah. So next to Lui Passaglia, I'm the longest standing BC Linesman.
Wow. That's a long career.
Yes. That's why I can't play pickleball.
Our company focuses on health and longevity. And so someone like you who was able to play at that elite level for 16 years, what would be some secrets or tips that you'd have for young aspiring athletes or young people in general that could try and achieve that level of health for that many years?
It's funny. I think it's fairly simple. Like after all the years of looking at nutrition, and I obviously have made my own mistakes as it relates to, I still love going out and having a burger and enjoying fast food and all that sort of thing. But I think at the end of the day, huge simple thing: eat real food. If it can last on a shelf for months, it's probably not the right fit, right? So eat real food, real vegetables, real fruit, lean meat. I think eating lots of vegetables and fruits. Obviously as a football player, as any athlete, the protein is really important. But I understand that sometimes maybe we eat a little bit too much of that, and at the expense of maybe of the vegetables and those other things. So I think it's very important to have that balance. Sometimes for young people, getting over that maybe hurdle in their minds that I don't like that. There are many ways to prepare vegetables where they taste delicious, just as delicious as a beautiful steak. And then also, hydration. It's really. I think young people tend to go towards the soft drinks and the sugar drinks. So I remember my dad. They used to call it white death, white sugar, white flour. So those are things kind of to stay away from.
It's true, and now the data shows it.
Yeah, and that was way back. That was 20, 30 years ago. We was talking about that, and I think that there's a lot of truth.
I did some judo, but that career ended when I was 17 with an injury. Like, I remember the day-to-day grind is like, it is actually so hard to get up the next day, do it again.
Yes.
It's painful. And it's not always, some days maybe are fun and you get the adrenaline that are good. And then there's some days that are just hard.
Yeah. I think that's about mental toughness. I think, what a lot of people don't realize, it's just as important to have, I think, the mental part of your game as it is the physical part of your game. And as you go up in the levels and get to the pros, even more so, because I always tell people, what are the toughest 6 inches in football? And they always go at the goal line when you're trying to get, I said, no, it's just 6 inches between your ears. Because ultimately we're our own worst enemy sometimes in terms of our confidence, self-talk, in terms of things we say, of being successful in life as well as in athletics and sport, is to have that positive mental attitude and to focus on that mental toughness. I don't know if you saw the Netflix feature with Arnold Schwarzenegger, a little bit about his life, but that's one thing that really stuck with me. He said there was a lot of times where I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to lift weights. I didn't want to train. He said, but I didn't think about it too much. He said, I just got up and I did it. And by doing it, my mind started changing. And I think that's how we talk ourselves out of things. His point was, just go do it. And we're having for it, right? And that's been my experience as well.
Oh, no, that's such a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. And mindset is so key.
I had a good teacher when I was in the pros out of Seattle that taught the psychology process. And that was one of his sayings: "You're all meaningful, lasting change. Starts first on the inside and works its way out." And that's something that stuck with me. So you have to really feel the change inside before you can do it on the outside.
So back to your athlete days, your 16 years at the Lions. What was maybe one of your greatest moments, greatest championship? Is there one that kind of stands out to you?
Fortunate enough to win 2 Grey Cup championships.
Nice.
So in 1994 was the first one, and that was the year that we had the American team. So
okay, yeah,
I think it really does stand out in terms of how we got there. We were definitely an underdog and not expected to go to the Grey Cup. So we had to overcome a lot of hurdles to do that, and just the makeup of the team and the group of guys that we had and the journey that we had to get there. So that, and then ultimately playing Baltimore, who was an All-American team at home in front of our own fans to capture the Grey Cup. That was an awesome memory.
Nice. And that year, how many years had you been with
I saw in 1987. I was a captain on that team, and I was playing offensive line.
So at that time, you're kind of a player plus a leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, leadership was a lot about sometimes servant leadership, helping the young guys understand what it means to be a pro, and also helping them understand, our own game plan, that sort of thing. So giving your tools and talents to the younger generation to make sure that they got the speed fast enough. That's all part of being a good teammate. And then it's harder to pro level because some of these guys are trying to take your job, right? But by the same token, you're not going to be a really great team unless you're willing to give that kind of effort to those around you.
Okay, and then when you're in the moment, in these championship great moments and adrenaline's high, your emotions are high, are you really absorbing a lot of it at that time, let's say those 2 championships? Or does it kind of wash over a little bit, and only now that you look back, you're like, that was amazing. I can't believe this happened in my life.
Well, a funny story about that. They talk about being in the zone. When we were in Calgary for the Grey Cup Championship in 2000, we ended up, fortunately, winning that game against Montreal. And we're in the locker room after the game, and everyone was talking about the flyover, how the stadium shook, and these Air Force jets came over the stadium. And I was like, what are you guys talking about? I don't remember any of them. After I retired, I went to the Grey Cup, and they did the flyover, and I'm like, oh, this is what they were talking about. And I was so in the zone that I did not even notice anything besides what I was trying to accomplish on the field. And so I think sometimes when you get to that special moment, a championship, that when they talk about being in the zone, that's what it's like. You're kind of just blocking out everything that's not pertinent to what you're trying to accomplish. And that was a really good example of it.
So do you find that in the zone or in the flow state, are things dulled out or are they amplified?
I think you're more focused on what you're supposed to do. So like in football, there are so many different elements, so many different people doing different things. But like I said before, in order to be a good teammate, I have to focus on what I'm supposed to do and not worry about what everyone else is doing. Just trust that they're going to do it to the best of their ability. And I think doing in the zone, to me, it's free flowing. It's easy in a sense that you're not stressed about it. You're more confident on things, but there certainly is an intensity to it and a focus to it for sure.
How do you pass on that knowledge? So as you move from player into more coach management, how do you translate that to other people? It's like you can give a man a fish or you can teach a man to fish.
I think part of it is that it takes time, helping someone to understand that you have to be patient, right? Because I use the example a lot of times. If you're right-handed, I said, okay, write your name with your right hand. And now I want you to switch the pen to your left hand. I want you to write your name. Yeah. Well, and that's so much more difficult. And that's what happens when you're learning something new. You often have to take 2 steps back before you can move forward. I think sometimes people are impatient. They're not willing to take the time. I think that's a really important lesson for young people in our organization, that you can't free flow or be in the zone until you spent the time learning those skills to the point where they are ingrained now. And that takes time and effort and hard work, but you can certainly get there, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah, that's such a great point. Things take time, going to brew and accumulate to be able to get you into that ability to flow into that.
That's why quite often the people that are, I would say, experts at something are not necessarily the best at teaching something, because for them, they're free flowing. They don't actually think about every step that they have to take in order to throw a football or kick a football, but they've just done it for so many years that it's natural to them. So I think that sometimes it's hard because to break it down into those steps can be very difficult for someone like that, right? Yeah. Unless they really take the time to think about it. So I think those are all important lessons for people in management on the job. Just be patient, work hard at it, and recognize that it's not going to be easy at first, right?
What's your passion right now? What are you into right now?
Well, I work a lot with youth. So I work with the Lions now, and I'm the director of community partnership. For me, it's all about paying it forward, giving it back to the next generation. We obviously have a lot of free clinics, football clinics, but we also have programs like our Indigenous Youth Football Program, where we're trying to teach some of the things you talked about, to take those aspects of character and discipline, leadership, and teamwork into other aspects of your life. So that's kind of important to me right now, is to pass on those and inspire the young people for the next generation.
I think that's so amazing. I think we'll end on that. And thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, you're welcome.
I think you're a great ambassador of the sport. Yeah, BC Lions, so lucky to have you.
Thank you very much.